What's going on, everyone? I'm back making a YouTube video. I wasn't able to do anything last week because I was sick, so now hopefully that's not going to happen again. And yeah, I'm back to making videos. So let's try to make this very nice, short, and sweet, and simple. All right, I'm going to talk about the crypto markets. I'm going to talk about the stock market. And without further ado, let's get started with the video. All right, number one, I want to start by showing a weekly chart of Bitcoin. So you can see that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red weeks in a row. All right. So I want to start this video off by showing that this week on Bitcoin is almost definitely going to be green. And because this week is going to be green, what I think is going to end up happening in the stock market is we're going to have a flat or a slightly green close on the stock market, purely because Bitcoin is going to be green this week. It's a high likelihood. And of course, I think this is also the first time in history Bitcoin is red for 9 weeks in a row. And we've seen the correlation of where if the stock market is doing really well and Bitcoin is flat, then Bitcoin ends up following the stock market's strength. And if Bitcoin is doing really well, and remember, we saw this time and time again, if the stock market looks really garbage and it has like a red candle or it's falling lower, but Bitcoin is showing strength, then the stock market ends up following. So they've been very correlated over the past few months, at least, when we've been monitoring them, and there's no disputing that. So recently, you can argue, why hasn't Bitcoin followed what the stock market was doing? The SPY was already at 415. What's going on? Why did it take Bitcoin so long to start following, if that's the case, if they're correlated? Well, number one is because of the entire thing that happened with Luna. The entire crypto market and the ecosystem took a huge hit. So obviously Luna lost a lot of money. A lot of people lost a lot of money. A lot of people took their lives because they lost a lot of money and they got scammed. And so a lot of people lost money, right? But then also a lot of funds and heavy investors lost a lot of money as well. So that's why we saw just a very stagnant price action. And it was very flat because there was a lot of things that still needed to get taken care of. A lot of people lost a lot of money. They needed to take money out of so many different entities to try to fund their Bitcoin purchases. And it's like this basically kept it afloat, really, and that's why things didn't really capitulate any further. And especially because of the strength in the stock market, this helped stabilize the price a bit more as well. But yeah, now we can see that Bitcoin had a huge pop. It's up 10%. And obviously it's because the stock market is showing so much strength. And now, moving forward, because this week is going to be green on Bitcoin, we could take a look at weekly open. We open on the week at 29,447, and because I believe that Bitcoin's week is going to be green, obviously we're going to stay above this level. If we break down below it, this would be a really good opportunity to buy into more longs, because we've never had this many red weeks in a row, and it would just be really weird. But yeah, so Bitcoin's going to be green. I believe the stock market is going to be flat or slightly green to the week as well. And there's that for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the SPY. All right, so obviously there's a lot to take a look at, but I want to do a quick recap of my thought process of what I would have done last week, and using the same teachings and everything that I shared with you guys, and why I hope you guys did some of the same stuff, because you guys are avid watchers of the YouTube. So you know basically what I'm going to be looking for. All right, so let's take a look. All right, here's a weekly chart of the SPY. 7 red weeks in a row. Number one, we opened outside of the lower Bollinger Band on the SPY. Huge buy signal. All right, that's number one. number 2. Let's take a look at Apple. How far outside of the lower Bollinger Band did we open on Apple? Huge. Very far out. This was a huge buy signal as well. Tesla. Same thing on Tesla. We opened on the weekly chart outside of the lower Bollinger Band. So those are huge buy signals. Okay. Now on the daily chart, obviously, Apple and Tesla, etc., didn't. They weren't that overextended to the downside, right? So on Apple, for example, we're looking at the weekly chart, but hey, Hamid, you know, the daily chart, there's no overextension to the downside. What are you talking about? Da, da, da. So that's cool. I agree. But then when you look at Google, Google is another $1 trillion company with the entire stock market, with Apple, Tesla, and SPY opening outside of the lower Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. And with Google opening and closing multiple days outside of the lower Bollinger Band, while the rest of the stock market is overextended to the downside on weekly timeframes. And when it's the 8th week in a row, potentially, where we would be red, this should have been a huge signal to scale into calls. Like, you have to look at everything together. And if you don't do that, then you're you're missing pieces of the story. So that's basically what I would have been looking at and sharing with you guys on YouTube. So, all right, there's that. Let's talk about what we can do now moving forward. So here's a chart of the SPY. You could clearly see we had a bit of a red day. No, sorry. It was pretty flat, obviously, right? Regardless of what the day was. You can see that here on March 21st, it's sort of similar to what we have today. So a bit of like an inside day, closed flat after a few days of rallying. Similar to what happened here on March 21st. So what could end up happening is tomorrow we could end up being green as well. And then rally a bit higher. This would be the case to go to 430. But again, I don't know if that's possible. This could have been the top. But again, like, since this week, we're going to be leaning a bit more bullish because of Bitcoin's strength. We could still see 420 to 425 very easily. All right, so basically, let me just be very, very clear. These candles are very similar to where they are in terms of a move upwards, okay? As long as the SPY does not break below 408, if it breaks below 410, we could have a bit of a shock, but then from there it could like rip upwards. It needs to hold 410 and it needs to hold 408. If it holds those two levels and we don't close a daily candle below those levels, that would mean that this upward momentum is still intact. So those are the two levels that need to hold on the SPY. If those break, then we're going to fall lower. But as long as we're holding above those two levels, 420, 425 and above are on the table. Okay? That's what you guys need to understand. Okay. And so we stopped at resistance and we need to hold support for the upward momentum to continue. Very simple. So now this level on the Qs was basically the main reason why the SPY couldn't continue on higher, which is the 311.3 level that I mentioned on the Discord server. Before we even touched this level, I was saying that this was going to be a very, very important level for today. And we touched to what? 3 right here. You could look at this level. It says 311.33. We barely made it 3 cents above and rejected it hard. So that is going to be a really, really important level moving forward. If we end up breaking above that level, then that's going to be the sign of whether the SPY can continue on to 420. Until 311.33 is broken, the SPY is not going to even dare touch 420. So just keep that in mind. Be very careful about going super long over here. If anything, you know, I would wait for either a break above major levels of resistance to reclaim long, or I would wait until levels of support are tested. But aside from that, but yeah, I mean, there's not much else to talk about. Keep all that stuff I said in mind this week. Obviously, as long as 408 and 410 hold, we should continue on upwards in terms of momentum. That wouldn't be basically like a devastating level of support would not have been broken, and the momentum of the upside would still be intact. Because Bitcoin is showing strength this week, I believe that the stock market should be green or flat. So I'm not excessively bullish on the stock market, but it's a really good sign that Bitcoin is showing strength. And Bitcoin's strength, we could even shoot up to 34 to 35. And, you know, there's still a lot of euphoria left in the market. And this week, the Fed doesn't speak. So, yeah, that's important as well. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Yeah, if you guys want access to the Discord server and everything, we share trades and ideas in the Discord server. The link is in the bio in the description. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, and have an amazing day. Thank you.